Okay, the next topic is puberty and climacteric. Puberty is the development of the secondary sexual characteristics due to the increase of hormones, and climacteric is when these characteristics start going down due to low levels of hormones. As you can see right here, the hypothalamus is the main area that controls hormones. It's going to release GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone that is going to stimulate the pituitary gland to release FSH and LH. FSH is going to stimulate the subtentacular cells. Tentacular cells are going to stimulate the production of androgen binding proteins that are necessary for testosterone. LH is going to stimulate the interstitial cells, and these interstitial cells are going to produce testosterone, as you can see right here. The presence of the androgen binding protein is necessary so that testosterone can actually work. If this protein is not present, testosterone cannot have the actions that it needs at the level of the testicles, for example. There's no production of spermatozoids. What are the characteristics that males are going to have? Once they reach puberty, they increase the muscle mass, there is a production of spermatozoids, and all of this is necessary so males can actually have babies. Next topic is sperm and semen. Let's take a look at that. Spermatogenesis, as you can see, there is the production of spermatozoids, and this is achieved by the process of meiosis. In the case of meiosis, the cell divides twice and you get 4 cells. If we scroll down, so right here you have 1 cell, and right here you can see the first cell division, and you get 2 cells, and now these 2 cells right here, they're going to go through a second cell division, and now you are going to end up with 4 cells, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Characteristics of meiosis are going to be independent assortment. You see here you have blue, red, blue, red. Next time it can be red, blue, red, blue. This arrangement at random provides different results right here in these 4 cells. And this is called independent assortment. The next one is crossing over. Crossing over is the crossing of certain pieces of each chromosome. As you can see here, the red with the blue, they get together and they cross pieces of it. As you can see here, when they separate, you see the blue one gets a piece of the red and the red gets a piece of the blue. That is crossing over. And the next one is, this is a diploid number, meaning 46 chromosomes. This one is haploid. They're going to have only 23 chromosomes. So if we keep scrolling down, we see they're crossing over, which I already mentioned. Spermatogenesis. So we said, how do we form spermatozoids? Through a process of meiosis. What is the name of the specific process of meiosis to create the spermatozoids? It's going to be spermatogenesis. And if you see right here, we already mentioned that the spermatozoids are created in the seminiferous tubules where you have the germ cells, as you can see here, germ cells. And then meiosis 1, meiosis 2, you have 1 cell and you end up with 4 cells that eventually are going to turn into the spermatozoids, as you can see right here. So let's scroll down and let's see the characteristics of a spermatozoid. So right here you see the steps or the processes by which the spermatozoid is created. You can see that you have a head, a body, and a flagella. The head has this top part called the acrosome. In there, the spermatozoid is going to have enzymes that will allow the spermatozoid to penetrate the ovule. Right here, we have the body where you have a lot of mitochondria. A lot of mitochondria are necessary to produce ATP, so the flagella can actually be used as a propulsion method so the spermatozoid can travel through the female reproductive system until it reaches the ovule. So we scroll down and there it says the spermatozoid. Same thing we already mentioned, head, body, flagella, we already mentioned that. Semen. Okay, semen is the fluid produced by the glands that the male is going to have. What glands are these? These are going to be the seminal vesicle, the prostate, and the bulbourethral gland. So how many spermatozoids are created? More or less 100 million per milliliter. Every sexual intercourse, the male is going to ejaculate 5 milliliters. So there is a total approximately of 500 million every single time the male is going to have a sexual intercourse. What are the characteristics of semen, which is the fluid where the spermatozoids are going to be? Well, the prostate is going to provide an enzyme. This enzyme is going to be called protein hydrolyzing enzyme, and also another one called serine protease. The seminal vesicle is going to produce pro-seminogellin. This is called pro because this enzyme right here is going to cut this pro part and we're going to get, as you can see right here, seminogellin. Seminogellin is very important because this is going to provide the stickiness the semen is going to have, and that's very important so the spermatozoids can remain in semen and can actually get inside the female reproductive system. Now, the stickiness of the semen will remain viable maybe like half an hour, because after that the serine protease, which again is an enzyme produced by the prostate, is going to liquefy the semen. In addition to that, the spermatozoids need certain characteristics in order to be viable. For example, the pH has to be a high pH, and it needs a lot of energy. High pH, but unfortunately, the female reproductive system and the urethra in males, they have a low pH. So how do we increase that? Well, because the semen actually neutralizes that acidity, making these areas, urethra and vagina, more basic, so the spermatozoids and semen can be viable and they can actually reach the ovule. For the energy, the seminal vesicle will provide fructose and other carbohydrates for the mitochondria in the spermatozoid create ATP. So let's keep scrolling down, and that's about it for this part. The next topic is male sexual response. I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but there are some anatomical foundations that are necessary that I already explained a little bit before, which is that the penis must have a lot of blood inside in order to become hard. So how the penis gets all this blood? Because the internal pudendal artery is the one that is going to enter the penis through the base and provide all this for the corpus cavernosum and corpus spongiosum to receive all this blood and become hard. Well, after that, obviously the beginning is excitement and plateau, increasing blood pressure, increase of heart rate as well as respiratory rate, and increase obviously in the amount of blood at the level of the penis. After that, we keep scrolling down. It's going to be orgasm and ejaculation. Once that is done, the sexual intercourse has to have a resolution. In the case of males, that is going to be because the penis is no longer going to be hard. And the reason why that is going to happen is vasoconstriction at the level of the internal pudendal artery. So after that, it's just diseases, which I'm not going to talk about it, and that's about it.